a little more, and I'll digress, because there is an incident happened at that early stage which people don't seem to have heard much about, because at that time we had to keep it quiet. But I don't think we should continue to keep it quiet, because what I'm saying did happen, and it was that Oliver Tambo, you know him? The late Oliver Tambo, a deputy in South Africa. He, on instructions I think from his boss, whom you all know, was to get out of South Africa. And also to go out of it was Dadu, the president of the African Congress, a Communist Party, and an editor from Africa South, the magazine. So these three escaped from South Africa just before the trial of Mandela, before the trial started. But when they knew what was happening, and there was a death penalty involved for them in the charges, and the three of them managed to get into Botswana land, now Botswana, and they managed, from help from other people, to hire a plane, airplane. And the problem was, they had no papers, no nothing, they would just go north and just take the chance to get to Tanzania, to Nyerere. And they did that. Unfortunately, little aeroplanes don't fly to Tanzania without refueling. And it is better to refuel in an aeroplane than just to let it fall. So they managed to reach Chileka. And they arrived at Chileka, three of them, no papers, no nothing, and they were immediately arrested and put in prison and taken to court. And that was serious, because the implications were that people coming without papers and that is almost automatically you're sent back, even although you were a deputy leader. So Sata Safyani was briefed to be the lawyer to look after them in the Limbi court. Unfortunately, very fortunately, the magistrate was Registered Magistrate Bolt, who happened to be a fairly liberal and understanding man. Now that was luck. And Sata persuaded him to give them just 12 hours in Malawi and continue the case till 10 o'clock the next morning. And they produced Phil Howard, who was in charge of Kondoro. He would be their guarantee, and they would guarantee to stay with Phil Howard. That was fine. So that was the order that the judge gave, and that was what happened. The three of them went to Phil Howard's house to spend the night, and they were due back in court the next morning at 10 o'clock, when the judge would make his decision as to send them home. That was the automatic thing. And so, in Phil Howard's house that night, there was consternation. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So, Yachisa took charge. And he phoned all the cabinet and senior members, but most of the cabinet. And I got a phone call. I think we were having tea with the children and don't know what we're doing. And all I got was, you come to Phil Howard's house now. It is important and nothing must stop you. So, like the other ministers and that, off we went down to Phil Howard's house, which was way out in the country, as you probably knew. And when I arrived at his house, I saw all the cars, and you could recognize whose car they were, and I saw them all. But that wasn't the important thing. I saw that the cars that weren't there. I said there was no Kanyama's car, and there was no John Tembo's car. So immediately I saw that before I went into the house. I knew this is something that Kamuzu must not know about. So immediately you see these two not there at that time, it meant Kamuzu's not to know. And I walked into the house. I didn't know them when they were here. I didn't know anything about what was happening. And I walked into the big living room and I saw Phil Howard and Aisha, and there were three people talking to them with Yatuta. And it wasn't long till I spotted Oliver Tambo in Malawi. I was look, this thing is beginning to work in my mind that there's some big problem here. And so I walked over and to be introduced, and I met them, and then I said, of course I know who you are, but I didn't look at it. And then your tutor explained the problem. And the other ministers were all there, standing around, and they said, this is the problem. These men must not go back to South Africa. This must not happen. And the second thing that must not happen is that Kamuzu must not be told. Because Kamuzu had a relationship with South Africa which was a little bit different. And the way he would look at it is, let the law take its course, let them go back. I'm sorry. And your tutor and the others said, no, that must not happen. And then the bit that was a little bit personal happened. I had walked into the house and someone wanted to come and they said, Collin, you're a lawyer. Yeah. They said, you look after transport. Yeah. Have you got any ideas of a solution? It'd be nice to think that you would think about it. In other words, pass the buck, you know what we're talking. So that is the situation we found ourselves in there. And the immensity of it was, to me, it was unbelievable that this happened. And I agreed completely, obviously, that we must not go back to South Africa. And Malawi must get a solution. And then, this is the only time I can say that I did something for Malawi, just a little bit good. So I was thinking, and they were all going around and saying, you're a lawyer, you must think something, you're a Minister of Transport, something. What I knew was that when I was given Minister of Transport, I knew that I would be taking over soon civil aviation. And Kamuzu had told me, because he was clever, he said, when you take over a thing like transport and that, you learn for the future, and you learn a little bit about civil aviation and other communications, so that when it comes, you're prepared. It's not here now, but you do it now. And I'd done that. So I made a very big decision. I decided to put this to the test. And I said to Phil Howard, I said, have you a room with a telephone? And they said, yes, we'll give you a room with a telephone. And I said, the others were hanging around wondering what's going to happen. I said, leave me for 5 minutes with a telephone and I'll see what happens. And this is true, it's true. I went into the room and I knew a little bit about civil aviation. I knew the levels of people with responsibility and that. And I picked not the top person, I picked somebody further down, quite high. And I phoned them. And I said, hello, it's me, Collin Cameron. He said, you might know me. He said, oh yeah, I know who you are. I said, you know you're still in the Federation, I have no authority over you. And he said, yes, I understand that. This is all true. I understand that. I said, well, I'm going to put something to you. And as a politician, for once, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. No one's bad. I will tell both sides of it. And I'm going to put a question to you. And I would like an answer. And then I was a little bit unhelpful. I said, and please remember, it won't be long till I'll be your boss too. And he said, all right. And I said, this is the situation. And I told him the truth about Oliver Tambo coming and there and the problem we had. And I said, what I want you to do, because you have the authority there without discussing it with anybody, I know, I want you to give an instruction that that plane can be refueled now, over the night, and the embargo on it not enforced. That's what I want you to do. And at 7 o'clock, the pilot will have been there and allow him to start the engine. And at 7 o'clock, not through the VIP, but through the normal part of the thing, I want you to allow these 3 men to walk and not to stop. Allow them to go on the plane and do not intimate to anybody for some time what had happened. And I want you to make sure that they have, the pilot by 7 o'clock has lodged a flight plan to Dar es Salaam, over the border. Now that's the question. He hadn't answered the question. And you know, that I think is one of the most important things that ever happened, certainly in my life. And I waited and I said again, this is something between you and me. I will not disclose this to your superiors, and you will have to trust me that I'm telling the truth. And I will give you my word that you will not go talking about it to anybody. And I waited. And I waited. And the answer came, yes. And I said no more, I just said, thank you. Phoned down, walked next door, and then tried, I didn't know what I was going to tell them. I said, I have arranged something, and you will have to trust me this time. And this is exactly what has happened, and that is exactly what happened. And in the morning at 7 o'clock, not driven by Phil Howard, so he wasn't going to get involved, because he had guaranteed them. Somebody else drove them into the Chilica, and they walked onto the plane, the engine was taking, and straight away, zoom, they were safe. But we're not finished yet. When they were safe, they were in the plane. But if somebody had broken their word or anything like that, the fighters from Salisbury, the jets, could have caught up with them. So it was 7 o'clock, and you at 10 o'clock, they would have to go to court. And 3 hours from 7 till 10 meant that the jets from Salisbury couldn't catch them. They were away. So we had 3 hours to get for them to escape. And that is just what happened. And then 10 o'clock, Satar Sakani, we phoned and told him what happened. Went into the court. This only took 2 minutes. He said to the judge, to the magistrate, my clients have not come, I'm sorry. I don't know where they are. That's it, I can't do any more. Sat down. And this was the Liberal magistrate coming through. He said, bail forfeited. Next case, please. And it meant that Kamuzu wasn't told, Kanyama wasn't told, John Temple wasn't told, everything was done, and I never met the man who made that decision. But it happened, and the result of it, as you know, was that Tambo never went into prison. He didn't go to Robben Island with the others for 28 years. He went round the world spreading the gospel against. That was it. And it's Malawi should claim that responsibility for saving. Yes. What that's what they get. Not to do somehow Malawi must be given recognition, because at that time, you know, Malawi wasn't terribly popular around Africa because of certain things. And they always were saying, you never helped us, you never helped us. We should correct that history. And it was Malawi that saved Oliver Tambo. Every time you go to that airport, it's Malawi that caused that name to go up there. Nobody else.